To celebrate Super Mario Odyssey, we have a brand new t-shirt for sale. The link is on the screen right now, in the description and the upper right corner. Be sure to check it out and support the channel. Super Mario Odyssey is coming soon, and as I was looking at the latest footage, I started to think about something. What would the game be like in 2D? Would that even work when it comes to the game's mechanics and what they are going for? Or will we run into some problems? Now, the game revolves around Mario exploring an unknown open-world-like setting, similar to Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine. Besides that, Mario can throw Cappy as if he were a boomerang and also capture certain objects and enemies to take control of them. These are the two biggest mechanics and focus points of the game, the new ability and exploring the huge open worlds. Now, what would this look like in 2D? Could this even work? We have never seen anything like it in any of the previous 2D Marios. I know that there are sections of 2D platforming in Super Mario Odyssey, however, that's not the majority of the game. It's just a couple of small in-between sections. I'm talking about the entire game being 2D. Well, let's first look at the capture ability. Will this be of any use? Well, let's take the enemies and scenarios seen in New Super Mario Bros. U as an example. In this game, there are actually a number of enemies that would be useful to take over, and if the developers allowed the players to use those powers in the world, it could work easily. For example, Waddle Wings. They are orange flying squirrel-like creatures that can glide through the sky. Now in the game, these enemies drop the Super Acorn, which essentially gives you all its abilities, so it's already some sort of in the game. However, like I mentioned in the previous video, the capture ability essentially replaces the power-ups, and there are benefits to this. For example, they don't have to create the extra designs, and they can easily integrate them into the world. And there's a level in New Super Mario Bros. U where the capture ability could work really well, even more effective than a power-up. It's called When Waddle Wings Attack. This is a boost mode challenge. In these levels, there is one person who places the platforms to help the other who is actually playing. In the level, the Waddle Wings fly at you and you need to dodge them. However, if you turn this into a section where you fly as one of them and try to dodge the incoming ones, this can be a ton of fun. It would be an interesting twist to the game and a good use of the enemy, because if you are hit and are fast enough, you can capture an incoming one and continue the level. We even saw a creature in the latest Nintendo Direct that can be used to fly around in the world, this lizard. And besides that, you can also use the ability in smaller sections of levels. For example, using the bullet bills to break certain blocks. This would easily work in 2D. You can't go around the obstacle after all. So if there are bricks in your way, capturing a bullet bill would be really useful. Another example are the Cheep Cheeps. You can use these in the underwater levels. Maybe for a secret entrance that can only be entered by Cheep Cheeps as some sort of bonus. And the list goes on and on. The capture ability would easily work in a 2D Mario game, and is actually extremely fitting. Now on to the open world and exploration mechanic. This is where it becomes a little more difficult. The 2D Mario games aren't really made for this, and Nintendo even confirmed this in the Treehouse livestream on the 13th of January. Shigeru Miyamoto said the following: "In the recent years, we made Super Mario 3D World, and even though that's a 3D game, it's a little more accessible to everybody. And so speaking of casual gamers, we have Super Mario Maker out, and we also have Super Mario Run. So when we thought of making a Mario for Switch, we wanted to make it something a little bit more on the core side, that people who like action games can really get into." Now besides this, they also showed an infographic with the more level-based 3D Mario games on top and the more open world ones at the bottom. Clearly, Super Mario Odyssey is 100% an open world Mario game, and the 2D games and a part of the 3D games are more progression oriented. So is there a way to create a more open world 2D Mario game? Is that even possible? Well, yes, and there are multiple ways on how this could work out. One of them might be familiar to some of you: Metroidvanias. This gameplay concept is similar to the Metroid series and some games of the Castlevania series. These games generally feature a large, interconnected world map the player can explore, though access to parts of the world is often limited by doors or other obstacles that can only be passed once the player has acquired special items, tools, weapons, or abilities within the game. Now, this is not completely an open world, since you need certain things to get to other portions of the world. But keep in mind, in most 3D Mario games, you need a certain amount of stars to get to the other levels, so progression is still a thing. However, if you don't want this, you can easily solve this by replacing these barriers with obstacles that requires the player to capture a certain being to get past it. This makes it way more interesting, and if you're good, you can get past it and explore the world even more. The same can be done when it comes to certain secrets. That's also a big part of an open world exploration game after all. And Nintendo could easily pull this off, since they have experience with it. Just look at the new Metroid Samus Returns. Sure, the levels would be completely different from the traditional 2D Mario games, but that's just the way it is with Metroidvanias. Side-scrollers, which is going from the left side of the screen to the right, just doesn't work for an open world. On its own at least. Since there's a second option of creating a 2D open world game, and this is a lot closer to the classic gameplay. Normally in a 2D Mario, you have a map with multiple levels that you beat one by one in a certain order, so you can't really choose which level you want to play. However, there's also a different way of doing this. If you look at Super Mario 64, which is considered an open-world Mario game, you can clearly see that there's a hub world with different levels in it. You could create something similar to it, but 2D instead. And as long as the individual levels are still open-world and allow for exploration, this could easily work. Even with the concept of side-scrollers, this would work out. However, they usually transform more into Metroidvanias, because of the different objectives and paths in the level. However, together with an over or hub world, the levels itself can at least be more like a side-scroller. A good example of this is a fan-made game called Super Mario 63, which can be found on Newgrounds. I'll just read the description of the game so you get an understanding of what the game is about. Super Mario 63 is a fan game inspired by Nintendo's Super Mario 64. What a surprise! Many levels and features are based upon it, and we also drew inspiration from other Nintendo games, but a variety of them are completely original. Among them include a detailed storyline, ability to play as Luigi, a highly customizable level designer with shareable codes, 3 different FLUDD power-ups, 4 different power caps, and 64 shine sprites and 64 star coins to collect. This is essentially the concept I spoke about earlier. It's completely open world and even has a hub world. So would a 2D Super Mario Odyssey work? Well, yes. You can easily apply the 2 main mechanics, and any other smaller things can also be added without a problem. Will Nintendo ever create one? Who knows? They have done unexpected things before, so I wouldn't say no. But now you at least have an idea of how this could turn out, since there are way more options on how to put this in a game. Hey there, be sure to check out the new Super Mario Odyssey shirt on Teespring. The link to it is on the screen right now, in the description and the upper right corner. By getting one, you support the channel and get a cool shirt or hoodie. A win for both of us. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to watch more videos, click the annotations on the screen right now, and be sure to subscribe, because way more is coming.